Very loud woman, very loud woman.
Right. Oops. So I think Ray was like back and forth, not being able to make it, making it. And then
Oh,
I think
because
at the
of
last minute-
because of her shot, right?
Yeah. Or was it a dog? I couldn't do track.
Oh, okay.
I think
Last night it was
her
the shot.
Yeah.
And today's something else.
Yeah, well, she was gonna have to go into the city and then she said never mind.
Oh, I
So,
see.
yeah. Trying to keep up with all
Yeah,
the
right.
messages. I'm very busy week at work.
Wow. Oh, God. how
So,
awful.
no, I just feel
Yeah.
bad. Oh, and that reminds me, did you print the?
I did.
I'm gonna make a copy at the copy machine.
I actually have 2 copies.
What?
I thought, you know what?
You know what?
Maybe that
Erin
would-
always tries to steal my copy. So I'm
So
just
here's
gonna get
that.
ahead of
I
it.
don't know
Thank
if
you.
we could add on like 2 minutes of the CEA just so that we know where we're headed with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah.
Okay. And then Calamar Lane, when do we add that as well?
But there's nothing,
There's nothing to say, so yeah, you're right.
but
There's nothing to say about it.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Susan
No,
knows.
I don't think so. Well, all right, so
Yeah,
maybe we
you
need
can
to
say,
find
does
out.
anybody know anything about that?
I think all it is that this same woman, you know, is just grinding away.
Is she complaining?
She's the one who originally lodged the complaint, and she just, you know, which is
Does she
understandable.
probably live like right next to it?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so, let's see.
Thank you for the extra.
Sounds good. Oh, wait a second.
That's mine. Yeah, these are resolutions.
Oh, okay.
Sign petition for a full removal. Oh my God. Not that I got it. I think we all got it. This is interesting. It's the neighbors, the protect water, they left that in our mailbox.
Oh, okay. All right. You know, I'm sure they're very anxious.
These are not-
So where is Bill going to be speaking about? Susan said he's going to be talking after the screening on Friday. We're going to have yet another screening.
Wait, oh, you're kidding.
No. Well, they've had 2, and now I think they're going to have at least 2 more before the election.
But to have
Bill responding is interesting.
they asked me to speak Friday. I don't have.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I was going to, but then I have to go in the city and I forgot. But it was supposed to be, what they said was they wanted to make it non-political. So they're having Paul Rubens, John Conrad, and myself. But then I called Julie and I said I can't go. So I'm really surprised they're having Bill. I mean, interesting.
Yeah.
But
So where is it?
so it's at the community center. So they're expecting that to be a big, like,
Yeah, I'll bet that will be.
yeah. Thanks, Julia.
Sure.
I guess we can get rid of this.
Is that a typewriter?
You good old fashioned typewriter.
Processor.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what it is. What did you think about, did you want to read this?
Sure.
About the disaster recovery plan next year that Cornell Cooperative.
Yeah.
Reached out to us.
Is that really our job? It really isn't. That's the town. I know it's part of the climate smart community program.
Yeah,
I know
because-
that, which is why we got involved the last time, but you know, as I was thinking about it, we have a pretty full plate, and is this really up to us? I don't think so. That's just my feeling.
Okay.
I know it's an opportunity, but,
Yeah.
you know, and also, Melinda said, you know, we want to wrap this, we need to know essentially by the 25th, so we should decide tonight, I think.
Yeah, I think think even if you guys don't want to do it, I might do it as an offshoot, because either way, it has to be the WEC and Climate Smart. So if
Yeah,
you guys don't
sure.
want to get involved, I totally understand that, but I might do it as a Climate Smart
Sure,
initiative.
sure.
Because
So
I-
you're still doing Climate Smart independently, huh?
Well, not independently, but no one
Yeah,
ever, no
but
one
you're
ever
doing
helps.
it. God.
Which is fine. You know what? I
So
say
is
no
it
one ever
you and
helps.
Ken? Is it you and Ken, or do you?
So Ken's the secretary. My neighbor, Stacy, who's a local realtor,
Mhm.
she's actually, believe it or not, been on it. And
And so you guys do a lot of the research and then Ken writes it up? Is that what happens?
Well, he finds the older documents that exist,
Oh,
and then
okay.
either he submits them or I submit them. And
Okay.
then when there's newer documents, I hunt down the town employees and say, hey, we need a document that looks like this.
Right.
Yeah, but that's about it. But then we have to in January, we'll have to sit down and decide what actions we're gonna do. But a lot of them are expired. We're down.
Oh, wow.
So if we don't
So
do
you
something
lose
next year, we'll
bronze?
lose it.
Ah,
So-
nasty.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been this long though.
Boy, that's really.
It's been
It never stops.
5 years already. I can't believe it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So
5 years. Oh my. No, really?
20, 21, 22, 23, and then 24 is when the big stuff expires. Someone's already expired.
Oh.
Wait, what did you say? The
Oh, this is
CEA.
CEA,
CEA.
and then Kalmar.
Alright. So actually, is that new business or new topics, Calamar?
It's not, that was January, February was a big deal, and then it just dropped off.
I don't know much about it.
I don't either, except that I remember, it was something we discussed in January and February. And Bill, was concerned because it was gonna kind of, impact the Como, he felt. And
This property.
yeah, he was very much against it, and he said to the planning board, please, look into this carefully, because I'm not in favor of this.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
Well, I wanted to ask you how you felt about, I wanted to try and ask the group, actually, maybe it's good that Ray's not coming, to start transitioning to someone to be secretary.
Okay.
And I thought maybe it would be a good idea to do while you're still here, so you can tell them.
Yeah,
and-
sure,
And I
sure.
I think it's important for one of them to kind of,
Mhm.
don't you, like, they
Oh, I
kind of,
do.
they kind of need to focus on stuff other than what's stuff national.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I have to say,
on Church Road.
I don't see anything other than, the core.
Yeah, oh, actually, that reminds me, Bob and Arlene might join tonight, that's the reason.
Right, so what would that be about?
They just wanted to listen.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're just,
Are they?
Bob
planning
is
to come
going,
back?
Bob wants to,
Yeah.
hi Ken, how are you?
No quorum.
Yeah.
I know, like last night, right? That was so crazy.
Were you here last night?
Yeah, I was here last night.
No.
Tell us.
Well, it was all left. I mean, had dismissed, but I mean, pretty much everyone was.
But they had to stop because Maria Elena left.
Really?
Yeah.
But, everyone had already spoken.
But still, it was kind of weird.
It is weird. That is
I
weird.
mean, don't you usually? Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry, I hope you didn't come. Oh, was I supposed to text you? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's got nothing to do.
Oh.
You know what, since you're up, why don't you grab a shovel and go to 10 Church Road? Only because there's just Julia and Ken here. So you're not allowed to sit there unless you're part of the WEC.
The WEC is on that side. This is the public side.
He's a special guest. He's special.
Oh, he's special.
Oh, I'm special. all
Oh,
right.
he's special.
You feel like that every day.
Oh, yeah, look at it. Bob wants to go.
Oh,
Come
okay,
on,
okay.
go with him.
I'm so sorry, Bill, I didn't text you back. I apologize.
Who wants to
You
get it?
owe me.
So
Bob?
Bob is just hanging out and checking in. He's been coming to meetings. Hi, Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Oh, yeah, you gotta look that way.
And Arlene may or may not. She got her shot.
Oh, okay.
So
What are you guys talking about tonight? What's the agenda?
Oh,
Nice, yeah, copy of the agenda.
Sir, 10 Church Road.
It's been canceled for this season.
The Scarecrow Fest,
Yeah.
isn't that kind of, yeah, I was like, why don't they just
Yeah,
cancel it?
It's done, yeah, they're not gonna do it.
I guess because maybe it's gonna get cold.
No, rainy on Saturday.
I don't think they wanna push it off another weekend.
Yeah, every Saturday for the last, yeah,
I hate to tell you, I'm not complaining.
I know.
Support.
Although I have that darn tent, I didn't put it away from last weekend, so it's sitting out in my front yard. So I'll have to put
I
that
wonder
away.
how much Ray had pulled together, I hope not.
Wait a
Oh,
second, where's my request? How come that's not on the agenda?
the town car, I forgot, I'm sorry, give it to me.
Oh, didn't we?
I sent an email to everyone.
Okay,
Oh, actually,
You addressed it.
I addressed it in an email.
it's done? Okay.
Yeah.
I actually
gonna send it.
You were the only one who said, okay, so I was waiting for one or two more, and then
Oh, I see.
So basically, we all
No.
talked about it in the email, and then I was gonna say, I
Scary
said,
story about my leak, in really cold temperatures, it didn't work. Have you had anything like that?
So,
hi Laura,
yes.
Bill's breaking the rules, you may as well take a
They
seat.
say seven, below seven, below minus seven, really watch out.
So we haven't had that problem, but last winter, we needed to take a vehicle down to Fishkill
Mhm.
to, a service place down there. So I said, okay, well, I'll follow you down with the Leaf. And I got in and it looked like it was about fully charged.
But it was in the winter,
It was in the winter.
and you had the heat on.
And that, well, I did.
Wait, that matters?
Oh, yeah.
Erin, I couldn't even put the radio in.
You can have your seat heated, right?
But that's about it. I didn't have anything heated. So,
Wow.
long story short, I had to slow down to 50 miles an hour on the thruway,
Uh-huh.
and that would boost my range.
Right.
I got back to Woodstock with 2 miles.
Oh, God, how scary is that?
And I pulled over down below, and I called up Al from maintenance, and I said, I ran out of electric at the thruway circle, but DOT said they'd let me plug in, can you bring the cord down? So he's laughing, and he comes walking real slow out of the shop, laughing his head off, and starts to get in the truck, and then he saw me.
So Ken, you lost your last minute opportunity to talk last night. I couldn't believe it.
If I wanted to talk, I would have talked.
No,
Did you see her get up and leave?
I couldn't, I know.
I'm so glad I didn't go.
Angry or?
No, she wasn't angry. She
thought,
and I don't remember you, she
Oh,
thought you said something like, there's one more question.
Modify site
Or I don't know,
review plan.
whatever it was. She thought the meeting was done. She, I think innocently
Oh.
left the meeting. Ken was next to speak.
Yeah,
And Bill looked around and he goes, we don't have a forum.
But so you said you think she didn't, she
Yeah,
thought
but
it was
I raised my
over? She
hand.
thought we were still in
Do one of you wanna come
Oh,
over?
no, I wasn't done, because I.
You can't do
Yeah.
There were more people on Zoom.
I think she's not.
There were people on Zoom that wanted to talk.
Yeah, there were, that's what I thought.
Well, and then plus Bill was gonna go around the room again.
all
those
those people. He even let me talk.
Actually, yeah.
That was scary. That was a scary
Yeah, I'm
thing.
better off as soon as I can.
I think it's like.
I raised my hand and he let me
alone
speak
at all.
twice.
Appreciate that.
That's a brave man.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
That's when I knew nothing would scare you, Bill.
You know, I got my baptism in politics when I first got on. Actually, I don't think I was even fully on when I started.
Okay, thank you.
Onto Olive and Shandaken were locked in mortal battle over what they called the large parcel. And it had to do with taxing. The school taxes.
Forget it.
And Woodstock wanted it and Olive didn't want it because it was going to affect them and so forth. And so it was Jeremy Wilbur, myself, and Sam Mercer would go up and face 500 pissed off, ticked off Olivites. And I never even gave a second thought. Sam Mercer was about 6'8", 6'9", and almost as wide as that window, and he'd be walking in behind us, so nobody ever bothered us.
Oh. so you had your-
Anyway. Goodbye.
Well, thank you, sorry about the
Wait,
confusion.
so
Ken, you wanna
I-
what
join
was
us?
the confusion?
Come on, move up, Kelly.
Zoom stuff.
This, whether or not I could remember the password.
Oh, well, I guess that's
Did
what
you?
they wanted, as long as you had Bill here, because if some of your topics, maybe you want Bill's.
Oh, no, Bill wants to
He
go
doesn't
home.
want to do that.
You can't leave, you can't leave. Hi, thank you, sorry about not texting back.
Oh, my God.
So calling it to order, we have, so yeah, we have a quorum. So we,
7:03?
yeah,
Okay.
thank you. We have, Julia, Corey, myself, Susan, Michael. For guests, we have Ken Panza, Laura Riki, and Bob on Zoom. Bob is just attending. Do me a favor, Arlene may pop in, so if anybody sees her, just let me know. Thank you. Did everybody get the agenda? I sent it out like
Yeah.
2 o'clock today.
Do
Do you have a copy? Do you want a copy?
If you have one, I'd love
Second.
one.
Here's one.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Julia. So, sorry.
So I move that we adopt the agenda.
A second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes. Julia sent the minutes around. Did everyone get a chance to read them? Yes. I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, there were some paychecks in the mailbox. None of them were for us, though. I was like, whoa.
I can pay the rent.
And then Julia has,
The
there was,
Sophus Creek News. Would anyone
if
like?
anybody wants, yeah, can pass it around or. what
Dying
have
to see
you.
that, okay.
Okay, so does anybody, want to say anything before we get started with the agenda? Anything?
So, yeah, so we're adding on CEA
Yes.
planning board. Where though?
Updates,
At the very end?
because CEA,
Okay.
yeah, and then Callamore goes at the bottom too.
Yeah,
Updates.
under updates, right.
And new topics, I guess we could put new town leaf, we can decide on that, right?
What's the difference between new topics and new business?
I don't know, I was gonna ask
I
you.
think that has to go away up there. The
New topics? Okay,
Just-
good.
Just make that go.
Okay, I will. All right, so then town leaf.
I
is
think
down
a
here.
new topic is, what is Ray going to do with the seed bombs?
You know,
I'm hoping she never collected the stuff from Gallows.
she got some of it, I know, yeah, but that's okay. We'll figure something out. Maybe for like election day, we'll just throw seeds.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's a good idea.
We'll be like, we vote for flowers. Flowers are running the town.
We're seeding the land.
Yeah, Earth Day is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it can wait, yeah.
Seed bombs for Earth Day,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, did anybody,
We didn't receive anything from.
yeah, okay, who's following up on that?
I will
Is that
follow
you?
up on
Okay,
that.
thanks, Julia.
But maybe we should just write a letter. I mean,
Another,
I'll
oh,
write a letter.
Okay.
And I'll circulate it before I send it.
thank you.
Okay, sure.
Scarecrow Festival's canceled, so seed bombs, yeah, maybe Earth Day.
Yeah,
Wendy's not
let's see
here,
about that.
question mark. Yeah, I don't know if they will hold.
They're gonna hold it in a year.
Oh, no.
Scarecrow Fest.
No, but what
I
are
mean,
the seed bombs?
the seeds-
Do they dry
Oh,
out?
seed
Or- I don't know.
Maybe
if
they'll
they-
germinate.
Do they get wet or anything?
Seeds can last a year.
But did they get wet? Do they, were they kind of processed, so to speak, such that they were?
Maybe it's in the bottom.
Yeah.
Seed ball.
She
Right away.
didn't, she
I don't
didn't put them
think
all in the
so.
box, just did a few
was to make them
samples.
out
Yeah.
yeah, so they're not.
Okay.
If they're still in a packet, they're probably good, but if
Yeah, they're still in
mixed
the
with
packet, that's
soil, they might.
Yeah.
I think she bought bulk seeds too, yeah. So those should be
I hope
fine.
she didn't buy. She was being given them by Gallows, right?
I know, but then it was supposed to be for last weekend too. right?
Yeah, well, I know she got the dirt and this, anyway, so we'll
All right,
follow up
we'll
with her.
figure it out.
All right,
Okay.
right. 10 Church Road, ongoing. I apologize, guys, my work has been busy. I would still have to add those revisions to the summary. And I did start on the resolution. I'm actually working off of the water testing resolution. And I actually had a thought, because it's being delayed so much. And the election's in like 2 weeks and we want to stay non-political, maybe it's a good thing and we want to wait and then send these to the town board after the election, so it doesn't look like we're. Or, I don't know.
No, you know what?
Or do we
It's a
wanna get it in
non-political
before?
thing. I think we should
We should do it when it's ready.
I mean, yeah, it's a principle thing.
Laura, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I wasn't able to make it to either one of those screenings at the library, but I took
There's one on Friday.
You're talking about the
the
Shady Waters.
Shady Waters.
Yeah, and I went to one.
Yeah, I know, and I saw you in it because there was now a 13-minute thing that, you know.
Oh, is that video?
The trailer.
Right, right. And it's really with the hydrologist, you know.
Paul Rubin.
Yeah, Paul Rubin. And noted that you were there taking notes. I thought, isn't that wonderful?
I always take notes.
Yeah, I know you do. But I just think, can we talk about what your impression was? I mean, I was really, you know, I wanted to hear what Paul Rubin had to say, because I know we all respect him, right? And it sounds pretty bad. I mean,
Well,
you
and
can't have
I wish Bill had stayed, and Bill
Yeah.
mentioned to me, Aaron, that he and you have been having conversations, and that I know that Bill is reaching out to more experts. My opinion of the video, and I'll try to keep it short, because I know Aaron likes to keep.
No,
moving here.
We're not so full tonight, so I won't be
Okay.
cutting anyone off in lieu of moving the agenda
Yeah,
along.
so as much as in the introduction, when Julie
Zabo.
Zabo
Mhm.
said, this is not political, I did feel like the video was trashing Bill. That being said, take that aside, because there was a lot in there that was, if it had full context, then the message might have been a little different in terms of where they had clips from Bill of what, you know, and it was what he actually said at town board meeting, so it had a clip here and a clip there, but it didn't show what preceded it and what followed these clips. So I did think it trashed Bill, which I thought was unfortunate. If you take that aside and you say, what was it saying about 10 Church Road? It was, I mean, there were a number of things in there that, in my opinion, it would have been nice if there had been a well-rounded statement of stuff. I do understand the concern, and there are people that I greatly respect who were there that called me on the way out and said, yeah, you have to do something about this. So I think that there is I would like to see more testing, more information, the soil that is there, because there are, the dispute, as I see it right now, is some people say that soil that's there is going to contaminate the aquifer. Other people say, and they weren't on the video, but other people I've heard say in different
But are
conversations.
these professionals or hydrologists or
Well,
people who would be
somebody
in the
who's
know,
gonna
or just
be-
opinionated people?
Somebody who's reaching out to EPA and people who would have some standing to say, it actually is not, what's there is not water soluble, it's actually not gonna get in the aquifer. And I will tell you, when Larry, the water guy for Woodstock, we were having budget hearings, so we had budget hearings on Friday of last week, and Larry, the water guy, was there, and he sends water off for testing every July. He
Mhm.
doesn't have the
Who is
2020,
Larry the water guy?
Larry Allen.
What is his credential?
Well, I don't know.
Besides being a water guy.
He works for the town at the water
He's
well.
the lead.
Like, he's in charge of the town's water
Is he
testing.
an
and-
engineer? Is he a biologist?
I've never seen his resume, but
Okay.
I will say he is the lead person watching out for Woodstock's water. So he's been doing it for I don't know how many years,
Yeah.
but what he has told me is every July, I mean, there are different testing that he does as far as the town water. There's some, I don't know what's daily or weekly, but anything regulated by the state, they send water out to an independent tester. So if a test is mandated by the state, it goes out to an independent tester, they don't do it in-house, and they get a result back. So they did send the testing off in July. I said, well, I looked on the town website, I could see the reports from 2022 and before, I didn't see 2023. He believes if there had been an issue, he would have heard right away. He hasn't got the full report back,
So-
but if there was an issue. So the belief is that people are saying in the video, Shady Waters, it's just a matter of time, we're gonna contaminate the aquifer. Some people with credentials are saying it's not water soluble, it's not going to. I wish it wasn't there. I wish it had never
So
happened.
let-
I wish it was never there.
I just need to chime in here that there were 4 hydrogeologists that weighed in, and they all concurred that it was a risk to the aquifer. the additional testing is not what we need of the soil, that is, because according to Paul Rubin, now that they've moved everything around and shifted it and planted things in it, he said that the soil samples we had before were damning enough that we don't need additional samples, because he said that it's going to be diluted by the way they move things around, and it could be deeper in the ground now.
And also these
But
wells are
there will be
sucking-
3
sucking
additional
stuff in.
screenings of the film.
Okay.
One this Friday night,
Mhm.
and the water protectors have invited Bill.
They have.
Yes.
So I was originally gonna be on the panel.
Right
And
now,
I
Bill is
couldn't.
gonna be on the panel.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
the issue that we're trying to figure out if we can get a hydrologist that's not involved in a lawsuit to come and be
Yeah.
there as well.
Mhm.
But they felt it was fair to have Bill be able to, you know,
Speak.
Yeah.
to speak
Wow,
to
wow.
other things missing from this film
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
And
about.
where is it Friday and what time?
So it's gonna be at the community center at 7 o'clock. It's roughly an hour-long film. Bill is planning to start speaking at around 8. He will answer questions and he will share his thoughts on the film. I think that's a really important
I think
step.
that's really
So is
important.
John Conrad gonna be there? Because originally he was, but
Might-
you said not involved with lawsuit.
Correct. I was trying to
John-
not mention that name on the recording.
Sorry.
And you didn't.
But I did. This one, anyway, so yes, so that's what we're dealing with right now. Is this going to be a conflict of interest? Paul Rubin is out of state, CT's, the other one,
Mail.
CT, mail, I don't know. They're gonna try to find, they wanna have a balanced
Mhm.
panel, which is what is fair.
It's unfortunate because John Conrad has been on it since day one and is so qualified.
He's totally
So
qualified.
qualified.
But they're checking with the attorney right now to see
So
if John can be
interesting,
there.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm really amazed.
Yeah, can I say one more thing? I do think Julie did an excellent job of keeping the questions not political.
Mhm.
Because afterwards, with Q&A, when questions got political,
Mm.
she shut it down and she said, we just want information.
Yeah.
They're
So I-
really firm about
She
that.
I really
did.
appreciate
She
the way
did
she
a
handled
great
that.
job.
They really they want this contamination removed. They don't care how it gets done. They
Right.
just want it done.
Yeah, I've been talking to
Right.
Julie and it's, I told her how the WEC has said
Mhm.
it's non-political and she's said that they initially were, you know, collaborating with people to make it political, I think, because they thought it would be beneficial and we realized that wasn't the way to go.
Right,
So I think,
right.
so I told her, I said the WEC is approaching it in a non-political way.
Mhm.
We're gonna still be talking about it in December and January, unfortunately, and we're gonna still be pressing forward with it.
If the worst comes to worst and we have to remove it all, would it be something we could bond for, or, you know, I mean, without
There-
blaming anyone, if
there
we
will-
can figure out a way
That's
forward.
there are ways forward
Yeah.
without the taxpayers being involved at
Oh,
all.
really?
Yes, there are ways forward.
And if we could do it without the taxpayers, because I know that Bill's concern is that it is private property and he's concerned doing things with taxpayers' money on private property, but there could be money coming from other places,
There's
there could be
a
other-
number of
other
options.
things.
So it's simply the will.
Can you
it's
tell
the
us the
decision?
options?
It's-
One is, well, there's one that they can charge Conigliaro as much as his house is
Oh, the
worth.
town and then.
The town,
Ulster
but then the
County.
Ulster County would reimburse
Right.
anything the Ulster County will have to reimburse the town.
Right.
So, but there's not, yeah, so
It
there,
becomes a tax lien. Okay, so
yeah,
that's one way.
exactly,
Is there any
exactly.
other, I was just wondering.
you know what, I don't really remember, that was the one that I mostly heard being spoken about, but no one wants Woodstock taxpayers, no one, no matter who's running for office, no one wants that.
And we wish the DEC had given a different answer, because if the DEC came out and said,
Yeah.
you've got a health hazard, then we might have been able to get grant money. But I don't know how we're gonna get grant money to do this when the
Right.
DEC is not split up as a health hazard.
And the DEC is a whole other question.
Yeah.
It's a whole other
Right,
issue.
and it's, yeah, I mean, we found that with Terramore too, that we couldn't get them, right, they wouldn't even respond.
Right, they only went so far.
Exactly, so.
I have been in touch and I should tell you guys, I apologize, I don't want to do anything without keeping you in the loop. I have been having conversations with Bill, actually Ray and Bill and I met, and Ray just was really like, I want to kind of talk to Bill one-on-one. Do you think I could do? I said, absolutely. She said, is that a problem? I said, no, absolutely. I said, oh, you know, do you want me to go with you?
Mhm.
So we had a you know, we had a good conversation. When we walked away from it, there was no next step, you know, it wasn't, but it was a good conversation, I thought. It was a conversation. And nobody got a black eye. I am also reaching out to, so my whole thing with the DEC, so I've reached out to the DEC water section, which is different from the DEC section we've been dealing with.
Yeah, that's what happened with Tara.
And
Get to the exact department.
So we've been talking to soil versus water.
I think it's, it might even be not soil, it might be like, I don't know.
There's a water section, but what I understand now is that we should be putting our energy into the Department of Health, not the DEC.
You mean the
So,
county, the
and
county
that's
level?
actually the county security to the state. So I've contacted the Department of Health and also.
Oh, good, that's what I
The
was advised to
DEC
do.
water and also EPA. Bill and I on the same day reached out to the EPA, which was kind of funny. And I was like, okay, you have my house bugged. But he swears he doesn't. He's actually going down one avenue. I'm going down a slightly different one. So we'll see what happens with
Good,
that.
good.
But I'm just shaking tree. I'm not giving up, and there's gotta be. The thing that kills me is there's a paper trail. We know this is the stuff that the DEC said was contaminated from Route 212. There's a paper trail.
Yeah.
So it just, to me, I'm like,
That's
why?
no question.
I
That's
think in
nothing.
their, I think in their statement, they said there's no visual signs of contamination
At 10 Church Road.
at Tenchurch Road. That doesn't say anything.
Exactly.
They did examine the soil sample too, though.
But
They
that was
did a
not taken
review.
according to protocol.
No,
That was handed to
that's
Bill.
right. Yes.
And I didn't realize what Bob made this, so it was, I started looking into it. So when you take a soil sample, you have to actually get it to the lab like within 24 hours because things degrade and stuff. And I didn't know that. We don't know what happened with that soil sample. So it wasn't taken, no protocol was
So
followed.
let's get back to the resolution. I think, we've been talking about this for, I think, at least two of our meetings now. We said we're going to do a resolution. We talked about it, when we were all standing around it in another meeting. And we said, yeah, we all agree that we need a resolution. I don't think we can really wait. I think that Bob could help us. Hey, Bob, you want to help us? We need an updated resolution.
Do what? To say what?
That'll teach you. Stop playing on your phone.
Okay, here's our guest. Let's not scare him away. It's our thing. This is the draft of the resolution that I just started working on. So it's basically changing it from testing of water to total removal.
Right.
So I think, Bob, you actually did write up a removal plan, I want to say in the past, where it was saying there were even things that the air needed to be checked.
Yeah, I mean, the short of it is what was done out there wasn't remediation. And you're right, Aaron. We put together a remediation, or we put together something that said we need a work plan that follows this guidance, which is the DEC remediation guidance, air monitoring, all sorts of things you're supposed to do as you remediate, truly remediate.
Computer.
That's all right. I'm just gonna turn you down a little. You're like,
booming.
you're.
I was yelling.
No, you were.
It's set up for the meeting last night.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're right, Ken.
Okay, speak.
Yeah, I was saying that, yeah, it's coming back to me. We wrote up that they need a work plan in accordance with NISDEC's remediation guidelines. There's NISDEC spells out what you have to have in your work plan. Post sampling, post excavation sampling and analysis, air monitoring, daily construction reports, things like that.
Okay. What branch of the DEC have we been dealing with? Is it soil?
Well, you and me, and I think maybe Alex were on the phone, and that was sort of
That was Kelly to
yeah, I mean, that was sort of what I would call like the solid waste remediation guy. So, and I think Susan mentioned that, yeah, the DOH should be pulled into this. I don't think, from what I heard and saw, the DEC either has the resources or just the
Yeah.
interest in really addressing this. I mean, politics aside, they were just punting it back to Woodstock when we spoke to them.
That's exactly what they did.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. This is a town issue. You have the ordinance that's more strict.
Yeah, they didn't want to deal with it. And, you know, I do want to say one thing, that there, you know, if I was a consultant hired to take care of this, or I was a consultant hired by the town of Woodstock to evaluate this, and I looked at everything that's been done, the data, and my recommendations would be to go out and do more sampling, because everything's all over the place now, and you really don't know what you have where. That's number one. Number two, put together a real work plan, or remedial work plan, or called a remedial action plan. And then thirdly, to get rid of the stuff and do periodic groundwater monitoring, not in perpetuity, but at least to see if anything has leached. I mean, the chemicals and the contaminants that are in there, you know, they may not leach into the groundwater next month, next year, maybe in 5 years. I mean, it's, in my view.
This past week, Paul Rubin, as a matter of fact, the water keepers, protectors met with Bill this morning, because Paul Rubin wrote, I think, a 10-page letter about his concerns, which will be made public shortly. And he's advising a number of the neighbors now to be on bottled water, not just the Ames. So the concern is definitely increasing, which is why I'm glad Julia said, let's not wait. Let's get this done.
Okay.
I have a plumber who said that he's having to serve some of the households in that area with something called reverse osmosis.
Yes, that's the filtration they're putting in their homes. Exactly.
He said it's
And they
really
still, that's
serious.
just for
And he said,
bathing.
he's telling them, don't drink this water.
No, exactly. Even the plumber's telling them that, yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
I can send everyone Paul's letter either tonight or tomorrow morning.
I have it. Yeah, that's what
You have it.
I don't
Okay.
know. So this was emailed to me by the water group. I don't know if it was public
Was
yet.
that this? when did you-
Today.
What time? We're supposed to go out at 11 o'clock. If that's the 11 o'clock version, then
It's
then
20
that's the latest.
pages.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so I guess it is technically.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I think everyone, I want to say on the WEC was on the email.
No.
No,
I
okay.
didn't know.
All right,
No.
okay. All right, so the resolution, that's our priority.
So
So
let's
do you
cover-
want me to continue with the draft? I will make it my priority.
What happened to the prior resolution?
So with the water testing,
Wasn't there a resolution?
There were
submitted from
recommendations made from WEC.
there was a resolution submitted in 2020. Actually, that's what I've taken that and
That was a letter,
Editing
it
it.
wasn't a resolution.
it was a resolution.
Was it? Okay.
It was, first we did a recommendation,
Oh, okay, that's
then
right,
we
that's
did a
right.
resolution. And we went about it in a way that we're probably gonna have to do the same this time. Bill wouldn't put it on the agenda. He wouldn't, and I went to talk and I wasn't allowed to talk. And so we said, what are we gonna do? And apparently there's something with the town board where Richard Hepner, Lauren Rose, and I talked to Reggie Earls and said, we need you to vote with us or with them. And what happens is when something's not on the agenda, I'm just gonna use a name. Lauren said, I wanna make a motion to talk about this. Richard seconded it, and by the two of them doing that, so Laura's shaking her head, so I guess I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but you said it
Two
was
town
against.
board members put something on the agenda.
Okay, so
Right.
they did that, then to talk about the resolution,
Mhm.
then they said, okay, we're gonna make a motion to pass it. And with Lauren, Richard, and Reggie, and we had a 3-2 vote, Laura and Bill voted no. So that resolution was passed, however, it was never enforced because Bill says it's illegal. So that was passed, it has not been removed, it is still in the town. You know, I don't think it was ever sent to
It's
New
in the
York.
history. It's
So
a resolution.
here's my concern
past
right now.
resolution.
Right now, we couldn't do this by email because we're not allowed to vote by email. So once this resolution is done, does that mean we have to wait 2 more weeks till our next meeting? Or can we do like an emergency, just sign the letter kind of meeting?
Well, could we?
We could vote now
Vote
to
now.
say that we're all in favor of producing a resolution and that we will
Vote via,
finalize it via email.
if we say at a meeting here that we are going to vote via email.
Does that sound legal? or-
I guess.
I think that's what we did
Sounds
with
like-
something previously. Ken, you want to weigh in on that?
Alex told me we can't vote by email.
Well, Alex isn't here.
Well, no, don't do that. No, but we can vote here about something that we are going to finalize by email.
We just did this with something. What was it?
Yeah, we did it about the Bearwise.
The Bearwise.
Yeah.
All right, so
So-
we're gonna vote then, how, so can someone propose a vote here?
Yeah.
I would like to say
Laura,
something. if I may.
sure, go ahead.
If I had a wish, because the issue with the resolution from 2020 is, collaboration is important to me. And if you collaborate properly, a lot of times things go smoothly. And by not asking Bill's opinion, by not asking, do you see this as enforceable? By not getting his opinion at all, if you put another motion in front of Bill that he says is illegal, then you're expecting he's gonna enforce that? And you're not asking his opinion
That's a good
to make sure he
question.
agrees that it's legal. If he agrees it's legal, he would have done it.
So here's my response. That's really good because we are volunteers on the WEC and don't know about. So as WEC members, we will make a recommendation of a resolution that we draft, and then will you guys come back to us with stuff? That didn't happen before, but if the board comes back and says this paragraph, that paragraph, is
Well,
that like?
I'm willing to do that. The issue 3 years ago was Lauren was your point person, and it should have been, the resolution should have been, it should have been more inclusive. It should have been a collaborative resolution, and the collaboration never did happen. And even after it got passed in a perfect world, it would have been reworked, rescinded,
So
and the one everybody.
what Erin is suggesting, does that make more sense to you?
And I'm happy.
Is that like the process
Well, yeah,
where you
so-
guys would come back and say, nice recommendation, we want to make some changes?
I think that would be a better process than just saying, try to win it in a vote and then expect Bill to enforce something he
Right,
believes is illegal.
right.
That makes sense.
Sure it does, yeah, and we're supposed to be serving the town.
Okay,
not-
so then I make a motion that we approve, what am I, wait, no,
That we allow ourselves to vote via email.
that we allow,
What?
no, that
No.
we.
To finalize.
Voting now, a motion that we're going to draw up a
Feel free to chip
resolution.
in.
No, we're not gonna drop a resolution, we're drawing up recommendations. It's not a
We're
resolution.
gonna recommend the resolution.
I better not.
No, it's
Joey,
okay.
you do
We're
this,
gonna
you're better at
recommend,
it.
we're gonna
Wait,
recommend a
proposed
resolution.
Actually, I didn't think you talked.
Yeah, can't we draw up a proposed
Yeah, you can
resolution?
draw a proposed resolution,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think my proposed resolution passes the town
Proposed
board,
Okay.
and then, I will, I love Susan for a lot of reasons. One reason is she always texts me when there's something that I need to do right away, and I always appreciate that. So if somebody were nice enough to text me and say, the resolution is in your email, I will then take it to Bill right away and saying, do you see a flaw with this? Because let's get something we all agree with.
And what about the other
Okay,
town board
Julia, do you
members?
know how to make the motion?
Well,
I think I do.
I know.
I think
Okay.
Bill is key because
That's not
Bill.
I agree,
Bill
I
makes things
agree.
happen. He makes things happen. He knows a lot about the law. I'll refrain from talking about the other town board members. I believe that if you get Bill to agree, once the WC and Bill agrees, I believe you have something that will fly.
Okay,
Julia,
okay, I'm gonna try.
take it.
All right, go, Julia.
All right, I move that we work as a body to draw up, and we'll do this via email, draw up a proposed resolution that we will then circulate to Laura and Bill and the town board and ask them to comment on it because we want to be collaborative.
And successful.
And successful.
Yeah, I second that motion.
Okay.
And just to
one, two.
clarify,
So-
we, by what you said, we're allowing ourselves to vote via email once we're done and happy with
Not
it?
vote via email, just agree.
Agree.
We've already voted.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry, okay.
yeah,
So we're gonna recommend
Did you-
a resolution.
Do you know what you just said, Julia, for the minutes?
I hope so.
It's on the recording.
Oh, that's
It's on the recording if you don't get it.
How do we get that? We ask.
Just go to the
Melanie?
town website.
It's always there?
It'll be uploaded.
Yeah, oh,
They
okay.
they usually do it in like a day.
There's a spot on the town website where meeting minutes are uploaded.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's YouTube. If you look in the left-hand
Yeah.
corner, look at YouTube. It'll, in a day or two, it'll be the top thing on the list.
Terrific.
It'll be awesome.
That'll help.
And you're a half an hour in, so if you look a half an hour in, you'll find it.
Okay.
thank Yeah, okay, so the other thing is,
So it was
what is
Cory.
our timeline?
You you
Second.
first and you seconded it, right, okay.
And what is our timeline, Erin? What's realistic?
Okay,
Maybe
so
Bob
that's
would actually-
good. Tomorrow I'm very slammed. Friday I'm in the city. And I have company. Bob, you're a guest. Would you be willing to work on this? I mean, if I dedicate uninterrupted time, I think I could do it in a couple hours, like 2 hours. But I would feel, what I'm probably also gonna do is pull up that old remediation plan of yours
Right,
and basically incorporate that into this resolution.
and Paul's got a lot in there.
I mean,
too.
if you wanna draft it up, I'll take a look at it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm busy with work, so I don't know when I can look at it.
What's your weekend this weekend like? I could carve out like 2 hours.
I got big plans, big plans.
You go to the Scarecrow Festival? Cause that's been canceled.
Can't make that excuse.
Are you going to Ken's? What's going on?
I can look at it on Sunday.
All right, Bob and I will get together and make this happen by Sunday night and we'll start emailing it to the group.
Terrific,
Great.
and I'm thinking that Paul has a lot of recommendations
Okay.
in here, so you can
Right.
reference
Right.
Paul's letter, and would you forward that to all, I mean, I have it
Absolutely.
from Julie, but if
Yes.
everyone else could get a copy.
Right, and then when we have something that we like,
Right,
then we're going to send it to you, Laura.
And Bill, yeah.
We're gonna send it to everyone to be
Yeah,
collaborative. We're not
right.
excluding
To be
anyone.
collaborative, good
It
enough.
goes to the town board and
but
the
she's our
supervisor.
liaison, that's why you.
And then we'll text you to let you know that it went.
And that's fabulous, because I'll be looking right at it, because things are a little
Okay.
busy, but I'll look right at it, and I'll try to get with Bill right away and just say, hey, let's get something together that everybody agrees on. So
Yeah.
that we all move
Okay,
forward once.
great,
we
yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
All right, just
Yeah.
for everyone, I am forwarding it to the whole group now.
Great.
You shouldn't be that busy. The Scarecrow Festival is just canceled.
I don't know if you know, but I'm actually running for office in the elections like I've ever said. You
Where?
might
Where?
escape you.
Oh my God, this place.
I don't know, is it an election? I can't-
You weren't sure.
Seems so weird.
No, I think it's next year, guys. I think it's next year. Ken, would you like to pipe in? You're so quiet tonight.
I'll
Okay.
send you an email. Don't expect a response.
Okay, all right, where's that agenda? Okay,
Washington National.
Susan, take it.
Corey, do you want to start? Update, or do you want me to do the update? Corey and I are working together on Washington National.
Woodstock.
I keep thinking baseball instead of
All right.
developers. I do it, and I've done it on several recordings now. Okay, oh my God, this is why I wanted you to do it. No. So that most importantly, two very important things. We're doing a benefit concert Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Marco Benevento and friends and Simi Stone
And Colony?
at the Colony.
Jimmy.
It's, and other musicians are saying, I want to help too. And Amy Helm is going to donate tickets to the Midnight Ramble, and we've got raffles, and it's going to wear your dancing shoes and be there. So at 6 o'clock, we're going
Is this
to.
online anywhere where I can check that out? No, I mean.
Stop.
Yeah, I can,
Can you
I'll forward
send
you
it and
the-
then
I'm
I'll
having
pass
trouble
it?
Yeah, I'll forward the ticket
Okay.
information.
Send
to
it,
everyone.
and also if you send it to me, I'll push it out to our Facebook page.
Great.
Yeah.
And then Corey just finished organizing a postcard mailing that will be going out early next week. You should be getting it in your mailboxes soon. Just kind of informing the rest of the town We feel we've had tremendous support from pretty much every candidate, and every citizen that we meet has been very, very supportive. So we're feeling really good about that. However, the developer has announced that they're going to be tentatively closing on the property on Monday.
Wow.
But they are allowed to either, we're not sure if they can ask for a 1 month or 2 month extension. We're not sure which it is.
No, it's a month extension with possibly an option for 2 months, but it's
Thanks.
a 1 month.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, so that's happening on Monday.
What does that mean, that they would have it?
More time, they want more
To-
time to
to
sign
what?
the papers, like to
To
decide if
close.
they want to buy
To
the
close on the
property.
property.
To close. So
So
they've been,
now's the time for.
exactly, which is why
Yes.
this concert, we're gonna have like photo ops at the concert. We are going to, really the postcard, we're really trying to bring as many people as possible into this effort, because it's really kind of gratifying to have everyone on the same page on something,
Yeah.
there's no battling and,
I just have a question. So all of that update, that was based on your work with Woodstock National, not like the WEC.
correct.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's all,
Okay.
that's from Tori and I are on
On
the
the-
steering committee,
Okay,
and we have like, I think 9 of us working on this, so,
all right.
yeah.
So what is the WEC? Do we have a role? Do we have other than support?
Well, I think the key role for WEC is going to be if and when they purchase the property, we're going to be needing to do a tremendous amount of research to
Oh.
create as many obstacles as possible for these people.
You're advising the town board. We were tapped on the shoulder, right?
Yes.
To advise, so
Yes.
that's.
So another thing about, yes, thank you. So and I didn't put it on here, did
Do a
I?
lot of research to look into it thoroughly.
Yeah,
But-
to see where the issue, for example, there was a National Geographic photographer here at the zoning meeting last night. She shared a photograph with me of an at-risk plant species that she found on the property.
Wow.
So
So-
it's not just the eagle, and it's not
bat.
just the long-eared bat, but there's actually endangered and at-risk plants on that
Right, well, the
property.
planning board will ask
So-
us to do a lot.
And they had, yes,
Exactly.
and I just want
That's
to
our typical
clarify the role
Yeah.
is that, I know there's a lot of, like you were saying, we have to look at everything. So we're not gonna look at everything as the WEC, we're only gonna look at environmental stuff, because that's all we're tasked with.
Correct.
We're going to, at our next meeting, Gretchen's gonna be here, and she's wealth of information.
Yeah.
She's
And
going
she'll help
to
us with
help
the
us with the recommendations we're going to make to the planning board about what to do, how to develop, how to not develop a CEA.
Perfect.
So just to clarify, those are, so that's gonna be really helpful.
Excellent.
So yeah, I just wanna clarify, so when you do your deep dive, the WEC won't be doing the total deep dive with you.
No,
We're just gonna be
we're
looking at the environment, and you
It will be more
guys,
like Terramore, where we'll hire a hydrologist, we'll
Okay.
hire an
Okay.
attorney,
Yep.
we'll hire a biologist, and then
okay,
WEC will assist with doing that, and being an
You
advisor.
can be as against it as you want. We will be doing due diligence.
That's right,
Yeah.
exactly, and our role
but the
here,
rules are separate, that's what
Well,
I'm trying to delineate.
yes, the roles
So,
are totally
yeah,
separate.
Yeah,
And that's, what's going to happen here is that we will then do our own research. And we can tap into some of those studies that are done, like the natural resource inventory, things like that, and how we arrived at a CEA.
yeah.
And we can then advise the planning board, because that's our role here.
Yes, the WEC, sorry, I thought when you were saying we, you were, okay, yes. So yes,
It is
and
confusing.
ultimately, Woodstock National could come to the WEC and say, do you support this or not? So you see that, and then we could
Yes.
say, we support you, we don't.
Would Corey and I have to recuse ourselves?
Probably, we'll
I
have
think
to
you
look
would.
into
I
that,
think
yeah,
you would.
we'll have to look
Okay.
into that. But I think we talked about those when
I
you
think
joined.
we
I don't think
Yeah.
they would ever come and ask us that.
No, I
They
don't
would,
think
they would,
so.
that goes to
You're
planning
saying
board,
when the
but it's our
WEC
job
just
to
deliberates, they
inform the
have to
planning
recuse
board.
themselves? When will they have to?
So if they're
We're
coming to
working
the
on an effort
WEC,
to
They
stop
would
the
never come to the
developer.
WEC.
If they're-
That's not ever gonna happen.
if they come to the
Why
WEC,
would they come to the WEC? They would not.
if they come to the WEC as Woodstock National and say, hey, WEC, will you support us? When we, the WEC, decide that we're going to support the Woodstock National or not, they would have to recuse from that decision. It can only be you, me, Ray.
But what developer has ever come to us saying, do you support
They're not a
us?
developer, they're Woodstock National.
No, she's.
I'm sorry, I'm saying Woodstock National, I apologize. They are, what are you?
No,
Stop Woodstock.
Oh, you mean your group?
Right,
Oh.
stop, I apologize, I was
Stop
saying
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Like when
National.
Paramore, when I
Oh,
came
thank
to
you,
Paramore and I
thank you.
said to the
Yes,
WEC,
yes,
will you
yes.
When
write a letter of
stop,
you would have
support?
to-
when stop
Yes.
Woodstock, they could come here, sit on that
Yes,
side and
yes.
say,
Oh,
we'd like
yeah,
your support, then they
absolutely.
have to leave, and
Yes.
so that's what I'm
That's-
trying,
that's
okay.
right.
Thank you.
You call it Washington National, I call it.
It's terrifying. Oh, my goodness.
Alright.
Okay.
Anything else on Woodstock National?
Corey, can you think of anything else?
No, I was going to mention about the CEA, but are we talking about that different,
That's a
separately?
different,
Well,
yeah.
no,
Okay,
actually,
We
that,
could move
the
that up, I guess.
CEA, yeah, and the CEA has to
We
do
were
with
gonna-
that,
we
because
were
that's
gonna
in
do
the
that.
same
Yeah.
area.
So I had a long conversation with Gretchen,
Oh,
This
that's right, I
morning.
put you, oh, great.
and she is amazing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a wealth indeed of
Yeah.
knowledge. And through the conversation with her, it really solidified in me that developing this land is environmental suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, the importance of the water and the different, like like how the water is stored compared to most places. Like it's accessible water to us. It's so important, and the animal corridor and for the plants and with climate change, the forest is keeping everything cool. We take half the forest away, these animals that need this cooler. So there's a trout stream there. And trout can only exist in clear water. They can't exist in murky water, in clear, cold water.
Right.
So if there's development and the water becomes murky, boom, trout are gone. Those that eat the trout are gone.
Right.
The bugs that, I mean,
Right,
it
I
just,
What are we thinking is the future of this land, though? I mean, ideally, open space, or somebody's gonna buy it,
It's
but,
privately owned now.
right? And so we would convince the owners that it's too
we would
important.
raise money to buy it for
There are donors
Conservation.
that have implied that they will step up.
Really?
Well, through the WLC, would it come through the WLC?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So it's not off the table that there could be a purchase.
Wow.
So I have a question. Was it the NRI where we found out that Woodstock's forest is in 1% of the country? Was that the NRI? Or was that something else? Or was that the CEA? It's important, no, it's really important because
So what you're saying, it was 1%?
we found out that the forests here,
Yeah.
they
I think
actually,
that was the NRI.
it
That
was,
would've been the
it
NRI.
was-
It's our
Portion of
inventory.
Woodstock or 1% of the national forest?
are in the top 1%, meaning
In the
they are
top
so
1%.
functional as a
Oh,
carbon
I
sink
see.
and they are
I
so
got- I
functional. So
understand.
to Corey's
Yeah,
point, if we
that's
get
not
rid of
right.
that, that's
I don't
gonna
know.
have an
I
impact.
think it was the NRI.
It was the
Yeah.
NRI?
Well,
Okay.
what we read was that it was in the 99th percentile for quality forests.
Yeah, which is
for
impressive.
sequestration.
So that's something that we will wanna remember to bring up
Yeah.
with Gretchen, I assume, because developing you cut trees,
Do
right?
we want to develop a set of questions for Gretchen?
Yes, beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, so that we maximize.
Do
Are you
wanna-
willing to?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Great.
Put that in the minutes. Put that in the
Okay,
takeaway.
so you'll circulate those ahead of time, right? Will you-
Yeah.
can you do
Yes,
that? Okay,
definitely.
Okay,
And we could even send them to Gretchen beforehand, just to,
sure.
you know,
sure.
there's no problem with that.
Absolutely.
Anything else on Woodstock National or the CEA? We lost Bob again. Okay, zoning changes. Ray, once again, found all of this stuff. She's like the research queen, but she found all of these, if I read it right, incorporations that in fact were recommendations from the WEC. Did you
Yes,
read that the
yes.
same way?
And I had written to the HOTF and I, Laura was drowning over there.
Yes, I was.
And so she reached out also, but when I heard back from Jeff Collins, who sent me
Mhm.
a very detailed response, responding to
Right.
each of
From
the.
Nan, our consultant.
Oh,
Which
is
is
that
great.
where it
I
started?
read that more as generally environmentally,
I did too.
you know, it wasn't necessarily specific to what we had asked for. as a
Some
group.
of it was specific.
Some of it
And
was.
where the
Mhm.
gap areas that I found
Mhm.
were what Michael asked at the meeting, which was, are you planning to do any modeling?
Yeah.
Water testing,
Mhm.
and then also, if you have a 3 acre plot of land, 5 acre, how many units can you put in? And what determines whether you can put them in or not? Or can they just go in and take a plot of land across the street from my house and build a 4 unit?
So,
Were you raising your hand, Laura?
No, I was switching my thing. But thank you.
so, yeah, so we wanted, the modeling that,
Mhm.
that WEC had recommended was nowhere to be found. And the other piece that was recommended, the section on subdivisions used our language on water. It said that it would be hydrologically tested if needed. When it came to the multiplexes, but they said that for the subdivision, it would be required water testing to make sure there was sufficient water resources. So in my 2 minutes, I asked that they require hydrological testing for any development of 4plexes, 3plexes, or 8 unit.
You know, with these
structures.
minutes, you know what?
Reading a book
No,
over
no,
there? Here's
okay,
mine.
I'm,
Here's what I forgot my.
yeah, I'm just gonna say a thing about minutes. There are some people who write, you know, one bullet point in a sentence. I'm pretty,
Thorough.
thorough, yeah, I try to be anyway, but, then it gets just really, really intense, so.
It's hard.
Well,
So what were you-
how much do we really need to be recording here, you know? Do we need to?
The gist, I think.
Yeah,
I think the gist, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
that actually does, I wanted to mention
Some
something
people, I mean, we
earlier.
used to have this thing where we'd have a page, cut it off at a page, now it's like 3 pages,
Yeah.
so
Oh, that's too much.
it's too much.
Yeah, with the recordings that you can see on YouTube, we don't really need that level
So
of
I'd rather
detail.
keep it to really, you know, a summary, a high-level summary, and then the to-do items.
But,
You know,
yeah,
Isn't that,
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
okay.
So I did.
Guys, I'm gonna sign off.
Okay, Bob, thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thanks.
I did ask Deborah Dewan, and I spoke with Bill about this as well. I asked if we could have, before the next public hearing,
Mhm.
I wanted to have another information session for the public, because it was really clear last night that the majority of people who were there had not seen the zoning code themselves. They were
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
about,
sure,
I
sure.
want a house, I can't
Yeah,
afford to live
right,
here,
right.
you know, but it wasn't. And Bill said for the next public hearing, he is going to be less willing to have people speak about other topics like STRs and
Right.
whatever.
The library.
And the library, right,
Oh,
right,
gosh,
right. Yeah, there
Wow.
were a lot of other topics. So Bill, what Bill's wanting is that the purpose of the public hearing is to provide information to the HOTFs, and that, because we may pick things up. Was it you, Ken, that saw that the golf course clause had been taken out? Was that you that found that?
No, the golf course is allowed.
No, you found a clause, they had taken something out that would have kept a golf course from being open space, for example. And when
The
it was,
golf course is open space
Yeah.
under the law and it's allowed.
yes, and we brought that to their attention after Ken found that clause, and they said, oh, that shouldn't be like that, and they changed it.
When did
So
that happen?
this past week.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say.
what I'm gonna say is like, and the aid in lieu was brought up by
That
the
was-
WEC,
that
and
was
that
a
was
big-
taken out
big
as well.
change.
So the function of the public hearing is for people to read through, see what they notice is out of whack, and share that with the HOTF. But they can't do that if they don't understand. Like Michael and I were trying to decipher this document. There's so many acronyms.
And thanks, Laura, for helping me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, there's still that somewhere in the document, but maybe not in that
Right,
document.
there's a glossary somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah,
There is, yeah.
Anyway, so there will be another information session, and I'm hoping they'll do like side by side, like here's what we have now, here's what we're changing it to, and here's why.
So
Here's
when
a
you say
map.
information session, what will that be and for whom?
It would be open to the public where
Oh.
they can present to us as opposed to,
Who, the WEC?
no,
No,
to the whole
housing was a task
community.
force.
The housing,
Like
okay,
Deborah and Kirk.
okay.
Could present
So
Yeah.
you were asking that as a member of the WEC. So the WEC is only gonna be concerned with zoning that impacts environmental.
Correct.
So we wouldn't want to be part of an entire
But
review.
we can be,
But zoning always impacts,
yeah, there's almost every aspect of
No,
this.
but the
affects-
bulk of it's affordable housing. I mean, that's what all the comments were about.
Right.
Yeah, so
So
that
if the
is
WEC wants a briefing, you want to eliminate all the affordable housing stuff.
just there. So I'm trying, so I'm trying to rein it in that we don't have to look at everything. We are only need to look at the environmental.
So
But
you're
you're also a
requesting,
person, besides being a wet person.
Right, we
You know,
should yeah.
And your point was very good, because I listened to a lot of stuff and said people don't understand. And that map that everybody throws up, oh, there's this map. Kurt Pritchard came up to me, he said, I don't know where they got that map from. You know, so that, I don't know where that map came from. So there's a bunch of stuff in there that I agree with you, but I also agree with Aaron that the WEC is focused on environmental. But as a citizen of Woodstock,
Yes.
it was a very valid statement to make that a lot of people were confused.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and I think what I think happens with the affordable housing being the bulk of this thing, when you're putting in massive amounts of 8-unit, 4-plex, 3-plex on currently
There's
vacant.
always an environmental
There's an
review.
environmental factor,
Impact.
there's water use, there's like
Sewer.
impervious surfaces, impact of flooding, you know, all
There's
of
only
it.
one environmental section, and that is the conservation subdivision.
That's it.
Everything else you should ignore.
And the net acreage.
No, only the conservation subdivision.
No, she's right. Net acreage
That's really
preserves
important.
sensitive areas.
That does not that is not in the law.
It's in the proposal.
It's not in the proposal.
It is.
It's open space, and open space is a lot of other things besides nature. It's the golf course, it's the septic systems, it's stuff like that.
What are you saying, net acreage?
Because the sensitive areas, when you figure out your density, when you do a subdivision and you figure out how many dwelling units you're allowed in R8, R5, whatever, when you take this big chunk of property, first of all, you subtract the acres of sensitive areas, and then what's left is what you get to decide. That's what the housing.
That's the 50% that you have to set aside, which is the golf course on the Woodstock National Plan.
So it should be looked at.
Hmm.
So we should look at the net acreage because it could affect what's used for open space or what's used for, right? So we should look at the conservation and the net acreage because the net acreage could determine what is built on the remaining space.
What the net acreage does is it determines how many acres are remaining. The 50% easement has to be contiguous acres, right? So,
After you've taken out the sensitive areas,
and
after you subtracted the
remember,
sensitive
do your
acres.
thing that you did last time.
Okay,
That was very helpful.
okay. If you have 100 acres in an R8 and 20 acres are sensitive, you remove them from the calculation and say, oh, I can only take 80 acres and cut it into 8-acre lots. So by removing the sensitive areas, you're reducing how many lots you can get out of your subdivision because the sensitive acres can't be counted in the calculation. You remove that and now you have less to do your calculation for how many lots are available.
So if you have 80 left, you can build on 40.
What
Theoretically.
Well, in the House Oversight Task Force, yes, because it says if you do a major subdivision, you have to be preserving at least 50%.
That's right.
Right.
And so besides preserving the 20 acres that were sensitive, you're preserving 40 acres. So you're, yes.
But the
then-
calculation
But the
on
calculations
total-
after you remove the
Sensitive area.
sensitive
Yeah.
areas.
So, but I have a
Oh,
question
okay.
about sensitive area, because so there's 20 vernal pools in this
What's included
area.
in this?
Like, does every vernal pool get its own like 50, 100, 200 feet buffer zone? So can,
Does it, Ken?
yes?
What would be included in a sensitive area, Ken?
Well, you gotta look at the law. I mean, this is stuff you read.
Yeah.
Just talking about it, you don't understand it. I mean, they're telling you, this is conservation preserved. That is not in the law.
It's not.
The
In the
proposed,
new
It's not
proposal?
in
you're talking about the proposed law.
In the new,
proposed law, the stuff that is on the website,
it's not in there.
it's not in there. I mean, they have the words in there, but what is set aside is open space. open space, open space.
Oh.
And then you look at the definitions of open space, and
Oh.
it's golf courses, and it's
Oh my
ballparks,
God, oh my
and
God.
it's
And
septic
sewers,
systems.
oh, so
And
we
so
have to,
that 50% that you set aside.
Could
is
be a golf
used-
course,
Is the golf course.
okay,
That's exactly what it is.
or it could be a sewer, or it could
But,
be
but
a,
we're talking two different things. That's different from the sensitive area. The sensitive area is a list of stuff like your wetlands, your slopes, whatever.
See, yeah.
They're sensitive slope. So the sensitive, so what Ken's talking about is after you remove the acreage of sensitive areas, the 50% of open space can be those things Ken just listed.
really?
so my question
That's
is
what he's
this.
saying.
But I
open
thought they
space.
said that golf course couldn't be included.
Well, I
That's
think,
not it. The law, you just read the documentation,
I
and
know.
I sent you that.
we'll have
And
to
it
go
said
back
the
and
golf
verify.
course
No,
is
Deborah said they
allowed.
changed it after they saw what Ken wrote.
You don't know that.
That's what they told me.
Everything's coming
Mm.
When did when did Ken write that and when would they have changed
last
it?
week.
We
Last
got a
week.
copy of it.
Well, I sent it right over to the committee and they said, oh, this shouldn't, that's terrible, that's wrong.
Okay, because what's on the website, I thought was available like 2 weeks ago, so I don't know.
The third,
I don't know if it's on the website.
29th of September.
We have like
It's
a
on the
moving
website.
target, that'd be scary.
There's a document which the public hearing is addressing.
Yes,
That is the document.
yeah,
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that document says,
still,
Yeah, sure.
Well,
of
it's
course.
not-
They're not
Because
changing
it hasn't
it.
been
It
changed,
had to be
No, no.
posted 2 weeks before the public.
so it
hearing.
hasn't been changed
No,
since.
no.
Well,
I mean, they're
the
making notes,
document
but they're not
says
changing
the
it.
golf
Oh,
course
I
is
see,
no
they haven't
longer-
changed
Okay,
it, okay,
okay.
so they're taking notes right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
So,
golf course could be a conservation area.
so I have a question about, I'm sorry, were you done
Well, I was just,
elaborating?
you gotta read the document.
You
Okay.
can-
No, I'm trying, it's nauseating.
It is.
If you talk about it without reading it and understanding it, you get nowhere.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, you
right.
just have another meeting like we had last night.
Okay,
Yeah, true.
You
So
know,
I-
you have to go and say, it's section this, paragraph this, remove this comma, add this word,
and define this.
then someone can deal with it. But if you just get up and say blah, 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 it doesn't do anything, it doesn't move the ball forward.
Yeah.
If you actually read the document, understand what it says, and respond to that, then people can deal with that question.
So I think that brings me to an action step, because we can't all do everything. And so I think that we need to have some people who are willing to review the environmental sections of the zoning, take that on.
Well, I think you divide it up and conquer.
Yeah, well, we had divided up, everyone was gonna read a certain number of
Everyone should
pages.
understand the conservation subdivision.
How long is this section of the zoning? Because I know the zoning is 300 or whatever.
Well, if you go to the
312
website, it's
pages.
1,642 pages
Two
on the
oh two,
website.
chapter 202 is subdivision, chapter 202 is like 80 pages. The zoning is like 300 pages or 350.
So
But the subdivision.
can we just look at that? That's what I'm wondering.
But chapter 202 is the subdivision chapter. Chapter 260 is the zoning.
Yeah.
Chapter
Subdivision is a-
202.
Chapter 202 is subdivision and it's like 80 pages or something.
I
And
mean, if you haven't read this yet, then we're not, the discussions are vacuous.
Okay,
I mean, let's get real on it.
all right.
But I appreciate what Susan
Well, we've been
said.
reading them all along, haven't we? I mean, haven't you?
Well, a while ago,
And a
yeah.
lot of that's doing the driveways and
Yeah.
But I appreciate what Susan said before, which is if you're gonna build an eightplex or more, you're gonna, even though it's a zoning section and not in the subdivision chapter, if you
Right.
build an eightplex or more, you're still
Yeah.
stressing out the water more and you still have more impervious surfaces. So
Right.
so I agree.
it's an environmental issue.
I agree with you that some stuff in zoning translates to an environmental issue because you're taking away forest, you're taking away. And
But if you don't understand the environmental issues in the subdivision, in the conservation subdivision, you're not gonna understand them anywhere else.
Okay,
So if you have to start, that's where you start.
okay.
I
And
started reading the summary and different sections that
particularly
Exactly,
relevant.
and 1,642 pages, where do you start?
How did 300 turn into 1,600? Oh, because it's a different document.
Because there's the
Well, that's
subdivision
what
and.
the,
Right.
what the website was that
Okay.
you referred to last week by Deborah.
There's 2 copies of 202 and 2 copies of 260. One is the marked up copy, one is the clean copy.
The red,
The one
the
where
red
it's
line.
accepted or not
Well,
accepted.
yeah, one is the red line copy that shows you what changed, and the other has those merged in, so you can't tell what
all
changed.
these
but
red
it's
lines
clean.
are what was changed
Okay.
in that one section.
Right.
Okay. So back to what you were saying, does, so I think it's important, like what Ken was, I think it's important that we all understand it, which means we all have to read at least part of it. But I think what you're saying, Susan, is you'd like 1 or 2 people to really take the lead and maybe summarize this stuff.
Yeah, I think that we all need to read this section 202 and what Ken is talking about with the conservation easements and all of that. But I also, I really think that we have to read the other sections too, because just this chart that Michael and I have been looking at that talks about the 3 and 4 plexes it's really frightening.
It is, it is.
It really is. I think it will affect the environment all over town.
So I have a burning question. And it's maybe a root cause issue with the whole thing. And that is, the belief is, if you're gonna get affordable housing, you have to add housing. But people are upset about that. And the thought was, well, let's create something that gives us maybe 10% more housing. And so I think that this probably is not gonna give us more than 10% more housing, but it can give us 10% more housing. And people are barfing all over that because they're saying, oh, no, you can't have. But if we're gonna address the affordable housing question, can you do it without more housing? So, I mean, that's kind of the issue. And I understand the heartfelt feelings people have to say, oh, no, we don't like the extra building, the extra development. But if you don't do any extra development, you're gonna have what you have. And people say that's a problem. So how do you fix the affordable housing problem if you do no more development?
That's right.
But,
People
you
think,
know, this Housing Oversight Task Force has spent 3 years studying affordable housing.
Yeah.
The WEC cannot really get into that discussion.
no.
You just don't have the background, you just haven't done the
That's
work.
correct.
You have to focus specifically on the environmental issues.
Okay, I totally
100%
agree.
Ken.
I say, you know, just forget about, you know, we did it when we did the CEA public hearing. We went through the whole zoning law
Yes,
and said, you know, for the most part, the CEA doesn't really affect the individual plots and the small subdivisions. Where it really adds is on the conservation subdivision,
Yeah.
the large subdivisions.
Right.
And that's where your primary should be. If you don't, you shouldn't talk about the rest of the zoning law until you understand
That's right.
the conservation subdivision in detail,
okay.
you know?
I'm,
So you don't have to split it up, you just all focus on one thing.
okay, 202.
Because you
202,
really can't, you're
baby.
really not in a position to contribute to the
That's
the
correct.
affordable
All right,
housing.
I agree. I
think
don't
Ken
want us
brought
to,
up a great point,
Yeah.
and I think, does anyone disagree with?
no, and I think it's important to
Right.
keep those
We need to
delineated
focus.
lines.
And we also have to-
As a
This
citizen,
is what we need to
we
know.
can worry about other
Yeah,
things,
all right,
but
hold
the
on.
Water
WEC,
and sewers and the septic
all that
stuff.
other
I mean,
stuff.
that's all in the law, and there are people dealing with those questions.
Right,
Yeah.
also
know,
Nan
it's not like
Stolzensberg, she's
no
an
one's worried about
environmentalist, right?
Totally, yeah, totally. And she's wonderful. She is totally wonderful professional, environmentalist, experienced with town issues like this.
And long-term,
Most of her work was done in farmland that was converted. A lot of her experience was working in farming areas. So I think that makes a big difference because we're looking at preserving forested areas. So it's not apples to apples.
so I think it's also important to think long-term that we're going to become familiar with a section of this, but at the end of the day, it's the planning board who's going to be reviewing stuff and making it, like, we don't have to make these decisions. We simply have to understand it to make recommendations.
Correct.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
so we should also keep that in.
When the recommendations were made in 22 and in May of 23, what had everyone read in order to make those
That was when,
recommendations?
remember when we took the 300-page document, we all took a section, and then we met up at the Andy Lee Field under the thing, and we all said, okay, this is what my section, and then we said, okay, this is the part, and then we all turned to it and said, we have a problem with that, what do you think of this? So we all, that's how we did it. We had
You didn't
Arlene.
focus in on just that one section.
No, because we had Arlene who took wetlands because of her DEP experience.
Well, that's
Bob
why,
took-
that's why
so-
because I based my my research was based, I started with WEC's recommendations. And I said, which ones are relevant, which ones have been incorporated, which ones haven't been, and then I read the sections where they hadn't been, so I could fully understand that. But because I was trying to build on what was already done, rather than reading 1,642 pages. So now I understand that there's one 202 section that I should home in on for this role.
Yeah,
Now,
yes.
mostly know that,
I'm gonna have to give
that
up all my
Woodstock
novels
National,
now.
it's a hypothetical, but it was a good case study, say, how does this fit into the zoning law?
Yeah, well,
And that's
that,
where we found these things.
that was the other thing, was the CEA, we were developing it when this was,
Simultaneously.
so there was a whole, yeah, so it was a unique kind of
Okay.
situation.
Good.
All right.
If
Okay,
another proposal came forward, you know, then you could compare that against the.
If only there were
zoning law
more
and see how that works
pictures,
out.
make it easier to read.
okay,
There's a couple pictures, they added some pictures, they didn't used to have any pictures.
Oh,
There's a couple.
all
So,
right,
you know, don't try and boil the ocean.
yeah, all right, so everyone, homework, 202, where that gives us 2
That's
weeks.
it.
Everyone has that homework, we'll let
Okay.
right now.
You have double homework.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on.
Palomar Lane, right?
The planning board did reach out, no, we reached out to them and they said they're waiting. Does anybody know if Palomar has submitted anything to the planning board? Because that's what we were waiting for,
Yeah, the planning board was gonna reach out to us
when they
needed
got
us.
something.
Yeah, not that I know.
So it's the
sketch
neighbor
plans
who
haven't
keeps-
been submitted, Mike?
There was an update, I don't know if that's been submitted or not, in October.
What was the update?
Let me
He
see.
sent it to everybody.
The thing I sent to you. The
But it
document that I
was-
sent to you.
It was from the
Maybe it's
neighbor,
It was from the
from,
neighbor. She was reaching out to
Yeah,
you.
but she's reaching out to me, but
Yeah.
she sent the update from Nan Stoltenberg.
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Basically, it
So-
wasn't an update, it was
It was
concerns.
from March 9th. That's
Okay.
what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
So I guess
So-
she's just looking for more traction. She thinks
Yeah.
you're new, maybe, you know, you're a good victim. I don't know.
Well,
So we have to be careful of being
That's right.
reactionary.
That's why I sent it to
Yep.
you guys and
Okay.
said, this is a concern. I don't know what makes something a concern of WEC or not.
Yeah,
Well, you can
It's-
say to Stephanie that we will be looking at it very carefully when.
Yeah.
when it
Well,
comes to us, so we are aware of
It
it. It's
hasn't
on-
happened yet.
It's
so-
on our radar, we're aware of it. And she can feel free to reach out to us again, but there's
Right.
nothing at this time that we can do because we need the planning board we need
Yeah.
certain things in line before we can
So
do anything.
she sent a letter to the planning board in January 23rd, and so she, you know, long letter. So everyone's
okay.
aware of it.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, that's the response.
Mhm.
And we're not blowing her off, but we can't do anything right now.
Right, okay.
So,
Because there's no formal application.
correct. And so,
That was a preliminary sketch.
Mhm.
Yeah, got it.
all right. Town, New Leaf, sent the emails. So I just wanted to make sure before I shared it with Bill, Julia piped in. Are you guys okay? I thought we had a really good discussion via emails about the town leaf. And we were all collaborative about hybrid versus, I'm sorry, I'm saying town leaf, hybrid versus an EV, electric
Right,
vehicle.
right.
I think we all said hybrid was
Hybrid,
better.
yeah.
Do you mind if I just, so Bill asked us, if I just sent him those
Yeah,
emails, we
yeah.
can check that off our list and not talk
Yeah,
about it.
sounds
Okay,
good.
done. Okay. Yay. Oh my God. Disaster preparedness. So I just want to say in defense, I know you guys are feeling overwhelmed and you're like, no way, we don't have time for this, but it is 2024. It is a project that does make sense for the WEC because the
does.
disaster preparedness will come from things like flooding or heat or extreme cold. And it's like the NRI, we were very overwhelmed with it. It's like Climate Smart. We were like, oh my God,
How
this
about
is
this?
crazy. We're never gonna
Can
do
you
it.
take it on for the climate?
I will take it on. So what, this is also gonna be a Climate Smart effort as well as the WEC.
But why does it have to be both? Can't you just take it on for the climate smart meeting?
Because we need the WEC support in order to get the climate smart. Like the WEC supports the climate smart.
Okay, so.
It sponsors, like, it
a
kind of
letter
sponsors.
support, or what do you need?
No, it's a project, there's a whole thing. So what I'll do is, so I.
Could you back up? I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry. Okay, so Melinda Herzog from Cornell Cooperative, who I've worked with, and also we've worked with, reached out, and they are planning 2024 projects. I had mentioned that we would be interested in a disaster relief program for the town.
Great.
So she said, hey, can we put you on our list? And she sent that email, and I said, what do we get? We get technical help. It costs the town nothing. In fact, we get $200 towards printing. We have to commit to the town. I mentioned it to Bill. He said, sounds good. We have to get a letter of support and then a resolution by March of next year. Not a problem.
Oh, okay.
So it's 9 months to a year, and it'll be basically them guiding us and telling us what to do. The other big, not takeaway, the heavy lift, whatever. We need to have a person who is dedicated to this website and updating it. So I think we should find out from the town.
No, not from the West.
Yeah, it has to be the town website.
Yeah.
So we should find,
Yes.
so in the process, we'll find out who that person is. That is an important key role that will come out of this. So that's what this is. Also with Climate Smart,
And you're on Climate Smart.
so yeah, I'm the Climate Smart coordinator. Ken is the secretary. Our task force consisted of the old WEC group. So now our task force, I have to recruit, can consist of you guys. I also have my neighbor Stacy, who's kind of been on it. She's a local realtor, but she was really excited about partaking in this. So as a member of the task force, we have people, and I might tap a few more people on the shoulder in the community to help as well with this.
You know what would be wonderful is tapping all kinds of people from the realtor community, because they're the ones who should be very aware of, you know, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they can sell things properly, right?
So, yeah. So do I have the authority, Laura, to post on our WEC Facebook page? So not the town, the WEC Facebook page, say, hey, we need volunteers for this. For the task
For your
force.
task force.
Yeah, because I appoint the task force.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that would be okay on your Facebook page, because like you're saying, the Climate Smart Committee is kind of a subgroup of the WEC.
Thing,
You know, and I would think it's okay, because the Climate Smart Committee is not actually an official town committee, it's, you
A
know,
task
it's a
force.
it's task force, it's a branch off of this. I wouldn't see a problem with it.
Okay.
I have a
So maybe-
person too.
Okay, yeah, so if anybody knows, this is, it's gonna be fun. I've worked with these people before. They're gonna make it fun. It'll probably be one meeting once a month, probably.
So it sounded like she needed a decision by next.
The 25th, yeah.
25th.
So
So are do we have to vote on that?
I make a motion to vote on Ken. Oh, wait a minute, before we do that. I don't know if I see smoke coming out of your ears or, because you're on the task force, what do you think? I sent it to you in an email, but just today. Do you think it's a worthwhile effort?
You know, there's one of the dozen things that comes in every month, of great ideas to do.
Yes, but we have points expired. Next year, we gotta get a lot. And so I was thinking it was a good, what do you think?
How many points do you get?
Well, there's a few different actions, so yeah.
So what is the goal, because this is the Disaster Preparedness Outreach and Engagement Project, so do you have, output that you're gonna be creating?
So yeah, there's gonna be, I guess, a website that's gonna be maintained. I assume there's something other than a website because you lose power. So I just said to her,
Wow, that's interesting.
I just said, hey, what are we kind of looking at as far as, and this is what she said, that basically, the project is generally climate smart, okay. Name contacts in the community and appoint person for Cornell Cooperative to work with are shared by the WEC and Climate Smart. Ideas for print resources, so we'll be putting print information out to the residents. They will share a template with us for a resolution to give to the town, for the town committing to the project, which a short online survey with follow-up. This will also help us for other things we want to do, and we'll be like, hey, let's do a survey. We've done it. We know how to do it. sorry, a short online survey of point person inquiring about things like community notification systems used by the town and that existing shelters, etc. The community needs to set up a page on the website, print materials they're going to help us with. The survey and conversations are shared with the point person, a draft postcard to promote the webpage and draft print resources. Developing webpage, a disaster preparedness resource toolkit is shared.
And this is just for the WEC doing this?
Yep.
Well, the Climate Smart Committee, which is a subgroup of the WEC.
Right, but I don't see how this is environmental myself.
I kind of agree with you.
Because
Yeah.
disaster preparedness comes out of usually things like storms. So we're gonna
Right,
see
but
more
what-
storms.
What are we gonna do with storms?
Well, the other thing is it's a climate smart action. So it's part of the climate smart program. So I see what you're saying, that maybe it's not environmental, it could be
So I think it should be under this
this climate
climate
smart.
smart. It
Okay.
really has to be.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
I mean, the comprehensive plan essentially assigned the environmental commission as the climate smart.
To do things like this. Is that what
I mean,
you're?
it's
Well, so it's
your
climate.
dual role.
So I guess Aaron's point is it's climate, not necessarily
Well, it's
environmental,
causing
but it's
it.
climate.
Yeah.
If climate causes an issue,
Yeah.
and I agree with you, I wouldn't see a connection either, but climate.
You
climate
can
smart.
make it connect.
Well,
We try real hard.
But the other thing is, and Aaron knows better than I do, she's been leading it, but Woodstock is a bronze climate smart community, and to get bronze, you had to do things to get points.
Right.
And so if you wanna keep getting points, you do what they say to do to get points, and this is one of these things to get you points.
And
So
yeah.
even though you may not connect to.
Someone's connecting it and connecting us.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, all right, anything else? Anybody going?
8:19.
Yes, thanks, guys. I know we have so much on our plate right now,
Oh my
and,
God.
and it's just like.
Julia, one of the things
Yeah.
I'm thinking, just in terms of minutes,
Yeah.
one thing
Oh.
I'm thinking we could do
Yeah.
is, because there is a recording, maybe just like put the key topics we discussed, and then what I do, like with our Woodstock National Group, is I just put the action items.
Yeah.
So, because that's all we really need to
Really
keep track
helpful.
of, right?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
maybe I can help you with what was the action items that I.
Oh, no, I mean,
You
I
don't
can do
mind?
that. No, I don't
Okay,
mind that.
cool.
It's just. this-
So if we
all
just say,
these
here are the
opinions
things
and
we,
all-
yeah, we don't need everyone's opinion on everything.
Right.
But we could just say, we've agreed about the resolution.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Totally
Okay,
fine
I
with
think that would be
Yeah.
easier. And it's too much to read anyway.
It is.
Too much to write, too much to read.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Does anybody want to, it is already the middle of October and Julia does not plan on staying past the end of December. And does anybody want to start learning how to be secretary with Julia still as a resource here to help us?
I can see the enthusiasm.
I know, don't all jump at once.
Is
Yeah.
Chris coming back?
I don't know,
We
Laura,
don't
have you
know.
talked to him? I
I
sent
texted
him,
him the other day.
I
and
texted him and he didn't get back.
I didn't hear back.
I text him and email him regularly and call him. I also do Google searches to see if there's something that's happened.
Because
Um,
what if we had, like, we need more help.
it would be nice.
So if we could have someone even as an interim.
I don't think that we can do that.
We can't do an interim.
Can't
So
do an
Laura,
interim.
is there something you could look into where in this unique extreme circumstance, I mean, he hasn't attended a meeting in a couple months. Can the town board maybe look at freeing up his seat so we can get another person in?
Well, at some point, the town board can remove a member for non-attendance.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
here's my
We
thought.
wouldn't do that for medical.
We're into October. My thought was just to survive the year and in January make decisions. You know, come the end of December, to start out next year, make decisions. My choice is to not rock the boat over the next 2 months. My point is to say, when next year, because sometimes terms end and we add people, I'm not sure when his term ends. We need to have, he can't be chair in January because, we appoint the chair every January. We're supposed to do it in January. We didn't do it January this year, but that's beside the point anyway.
Oh, so you'll be appointing a chair in January,
Well, we'll be appointed chair in January. So it certainly can't be Chris if nothing
given the
changes.
circumstances.
If nothing changes
changes.
and there's been enough time going by, I'm believing things aren't gonna change. Which I'm sorry to say, because I wish, he's a nice person, and I want the best for everybody. But, Mother Nature has her own plans sometimes. So my thought is we just ride out the rest of the year and then we try to refresh and come January, get,
My term is up in December also.
oh dear.
And I think all of you who were appointed except Ray are up in December.
Corey,
Ray is up
Michael, and I are all up in
2024.
December.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We
So
could be,
how-
we could be
What
defunct
does
again.
that mean? Do we have to reapply?
That,
No, you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
say that you were interested in.
And you get
You
sworn in
can get
again.
reappointed.
We have to get
yes.
sworn in.
And we
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
do it.
You really have to hold
No,
it.
I don't think
Corey's
so,
been
no.
great.
Yeah, you get
So
sworn
I
in every
hope
year.
you all wanna keep on.
Every term you have to get.
No.
Yes, you do. You have to get sworn in every time.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, as a town board member, I have to get sworn in.
And I
each
have
time.
to get sworn in. I've gotten sworn in a few times for WEC.
At the
Interesting.
annual meeting, beginning of the year meeting, they
Well,
reappoint all the people.
Yeah,
At the beginning of your meeting, we
Well, the
appoint,
committees,
so for those
they-
people whose positions have run out, we have to appoint, and sometimes it's the same person if they want to stay on, and sometimes it's somebody's different. So yes, for everybody whose term has run out, we do appoint in January who is filling those spots.
And do we have to?
But generally, it's your idea to send in an email like this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right now.
To say, I
say
wanna
you
stand.
Or
Yeah.
December, or
Yeah.
something like that.
A one-liner this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Because
interested.
at some point, they'll run an ad saying, asking for volunteers.
So Laura, just to be clear, you're saying that we shouldn't have, we should wait until
Well, it
January.
sounds like you.
No, no, no,
to
to
do
do
it.
But that feels more
January.
humane to
To
me.
do what?
To, like, not add someone now and.
Oh,
because
right,
it's-
right.
Well, sorry.
It's just that we need help.
So if anyone's interested, I can always add them to the